Good morning everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today is episode 14 of my Pecos Wilderness adventures, and I am once again on the Borrego Trail in order to pick up where I left off. There are some side trails that I want to explore, including the Rio Frijoles, so come on and join me. You can see the direction I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be going right up that canyon once I cross the Rio Medio. Okay, there are going to be many obstacles that I'm facing on this trip, probably more so than usual. This is going to be an adventure. First of all, it's early April. Today is Easter, and there are going to be areas of snow, especially on the north slopes, that I'm going to encounter, maybe even as deep as 2 feet. So I may be doing some post holing to get through here. First of all, let me go back and tell you what the plan is. So I did most of the Borrego Trail last year on my episode 13, the Borrego Triangle Loop. But I didn't document the south part of the Borrego Trail, so I want to do that this year. I want to go up and down the Frijoles Trail, so you can see Frijoles Creek in there, and maybe even some portions of the Rio Nambe, the lower Rio Nambe Trail. So I've got about a week of supplies, just in case. There's going to be deep snow, mud, there's going to be high creek crossings. The water is going to be flowing fast because it's runoff season. So it might even be dangerous in places, so I don't necessarily recommend this. Even getting in here was a challenge. My wife had to drop me off about a quarter mile from the trailhead because of a mud hole in the road. And I warned you guys about that road last year coming in. So anyway, I won't be doing much filming today because I already filmed this first part of the trail. So I'll probably just take some B-roll and see you when I get to camp. Alright, here is my first stream crossing. This is the Rio Medio, and honestly it doesn't look that bad. I'm thinking that I'm looking out so far, but we're supposed to get some record high temperatures up into the 80s, well, 80 degrees anyway, this week. So we'll see what happens. Oh man, that really sucks. I just passed a group of 2 guys, a horse and a dog, and I think they were turkey hunting or something up here, but they had 2 saddles on the horse and they were walking the horse down. Apparently their other horse had an accident, slipped off a cliff and died. So that's pretty sad, man. You really got to be careful out here. Truly. Alright, here's the other side of Trail 227. I totally missed this last year, but this goes up and goes toward the top of Sierra Mosca and connects with the Rio Molino Trail, I think it's called. Anyway, I'm glad I found this. I've made it to the intersection of the Sierra Mosca Trail that goes down that way, and I think that's where the horse people went. and I am going to be by myself going up this way towards the top of the pass here. Okay, I am starting to hit more patches of snow where I'm post holing, and you can see there's tracks here, but they aren't people tracks. They're probably cow tracks, deer tracks, coyote tracks. There's a number of things that pass through here. You can see where I was post holing. The snow is really soft in these bigger drifts. Alright everybody, I have made it to the place where I plan on camping. It's right on the top of the first pass. There's no snow here. I can set up my tent no problem. And just there's snow close by that I can melt for water. Because I'm pooped. I'm not going to keep going down to the Rio Frijoles today. That's a continuation of the trip for tomorrow. So I'll get back to you after I set up camp. Alright everybody, camp chores are done. I've got a headache, a little dehydrated, so I think I'm going to turn in early. It's only like 6:30, but maybe after 12 hours of sleep or so, I'll be feeling much better. So good night everybody, and I'll see you in the morning. Day 1 started at Borrego Mesa, did a road walk to the trailhead, and then I went down to the Rio Medio, past the trail 227 and another trail 156 before making it to Camp 1. Good morning everybody, and welcome to day 2 of my trip. Today I'm going to be hiking down to the Rio Frijoles and setting up camp and then scouting around the trail down there. Probably going upstream first. It's about 3 miles upstream and 3 miles back, so hopefully it's not covered in snow, or else it's going to be a hard day. But that's the plan. Let's get to it. Yes, that is ice on my wet boots this morning, and they are soaked through from going through the snow yesterday. So yeah, my feet are a little cold. Alright, I am at the Agua Sarca here, and I just filled up on water, and now look what I get to do. This whole slope for probably at least a half mile is completely one big snowfield. So then am I gonna have to try to find my way mid-slope through the snowfield. But the snow is crusty. I'm probably gonna scrape up my legs. I am not looking forward to this next part of the journey. Okay, this is the nastiest place I've hiked through so far. So where the snow is the deepest, you can kind of see where I fell over there, and man, I've scraped up my legs. That's from the ice on top of the snow, and I still have to go right through there. Let's keep at it. Okay, I made it to the end, and it got easier towards the end here. Let me pan around and show you. And it looks like I've got some easy walking ahead for at least a little bit. Hopefully it's for the rest of the way till we get to the creek. Alright, look what I get to do. It looks like the trail goes right up through there. This is not going to be fun. but I'm guessing that this is going to be the last north aspect that I have to traverse until after I get down to the Rio Frijoles. You can see here where I'm now just busting the crust through and packing down my steps and making sure I don't skin up my legs anymore. I've learned, but it's just like an inch by inch, foot by foot process, and I've gone maybe 25 yards so far. You know, I've never been a big fan of, you know, people carving their initials in trees right next to the trail like this. In a way, it's acted like blazes for me. I can tell where I'm going by the initials in the trees. Okay, I finally arrived at a spot where the snow is not quite as deep anymore, and I see some animal tracks that I can follow. But all that was virgin snow that I had to break through just little by little, all the way to the arroyo in the background there. So maybe 100 yards or so, but it took probably half hour, 45 minutes. A lot of work. Okay, I made it to the saddle, and I'm rewarded by a nice little view of Santa Fe Baldy. I'm getting closer. Alright, so I've made it to the Rio Frijoles, and it's beautiful. Let's go find a campsite. Okay, the trail was flat for a little bit, and then it started climbing up over this rock bluff. No camping here yet. There were some borderline sites down earlier, but it looks like the best camping might be across the creek. There were some flats, but across the creek it's covered in snow. So I'm gonna keep on going for a little while. Okay, the trail levels off after that little rock bluff and comes out to this little, probably intermittent creek, and the terrain flattens out a little bit, and you're still kind of next to the creek. Alright folks, I have fully set up camp, hung my bear bag, emptied out my pack, left most of my stuff in my tent so I can kind of slack packing away the remaining 2 miles upstream to explore it. I kind of lost where the trail is through here, so I'm gonna have to search around for that first, but I'll give you the description as I go. I also ate lunch, hydrated, gathered some firewood so I can have a fire tonight, so everything's going pretty well. Okay, the trail kind of climbs up the hill just past that little creek crossing I talked about before. And you can see this is a pretty good place to camp in here. There's some litter and stuff, but other than that, it's nice. It looks like cows frequent the area too. I don't know if you can see my camp through there, through the trees, but I'm camped right there. And that little creek crossing was just behind that red needled pine limb that's hanging out there. So let's continue. The trail levels off a little bit and you go through this nice grassy opening, and you can see a view of the timberline and the snow-capped peak above it from just over the top. And there's some nice old ponderosa pines in here. It's a beautiful little spot. Here is a little close-up of that mountain above. The trail kind of gets lost in that grassy opening, but you can find it easily when you get to the other side. And it looks like there might be some nice places to camp down just below this grassy opening. After that opening, the trail dropped back down to the creek. I just hiked around this opening, and I'm heading this way. It looks like the trail goes right through there. A little more snow here than I had hoped for. Alright, we've got a stream crossing here. If you can look, there's a log cut across the way there. I don't know if I want to keep going, honestly. I'm gonna stop and think about it, get out the map and take a look, but I don't want to be trudging through the snow. I'm kind of almost to the point of exhaustion, and I know where this trail ends up, and it pretty much just follows the creek, but I was hoping to document it better. But let me think about it for a bit. Alright, you can see my tent through the trees there. I have decided to go back, but I think what I'm going to do is continue going downstream for a while, because it looks like on the map it crosses the stream not too far down from the trail junction. So I want to check that out too, and if it doesn't look good, then I'll just call it and keep heading down the Borrego Trail tomorrow. Okay, here is the spot where the Borrego Trail heads south from the Rio Frijoles Trail, and it heads across right there. So that's what I'm going to have to do tomorrow, possibly the next day that I want to hike out. But for right now, I'm going to explore down this way and see how far I can get. And almost immediately past that trail intersection, the trail crosses because there is a big rocky outcrop here. Pretty cool rocks. One thing I did forget to mention when I came up here the first time is there is one little section of trail here that's hard to follow. There's some down logs and that sort of thing that you have to skirt around, but it's really not that bad. If you just keep going upstream, you'll figure it out. On the north side of the river, it's practically summer. On the south side, it's still deep in the throes of winter. Alright folks, I am back at camp now. Alright folks, the sun's going down. I've got a great fire going. I got some tea brewing. And after that, I'm going to be going to bed, so I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. To start out day 2, I hiked down to the Agua Zarca, got some water, and then went through some really nasty snow fields all the way to the top of the ridge, and then I ended up at the Rio Frijoles Trail number 154, hiked up about a mile, and made camp. And you can tell I also hiked up and down the creek a ways. Good morning again, everybody. It's day 3 of my little adventure here. And I got up at 5 in the morning, got a fire going, made coffee, cooked some oatmeal, and now it's 7 o'clock. And I gotta tell you, that fire was great. It was probably 25 degrees this morning. I was getting a little cold in my sleeping bag. So I got up early and warmed up by the fire, which was perfect. Really lifted my spirits too. Now I am ready to tackle my next challenge. So let's pack up and go. Okay everyone, I have arrived at the point I've been dreading. It's time to cross this. I can't do it in sandals because I have to break the hard ice on the other side. So I'm just going to go for it in my boots and socks, let them get wet. They're going to get wet anyway. I might actually thaw out my boots and make them a bit softer to hike in. And when I get to the bare patch on the other side, I'm going to put on some rain pants to protect my legs from getting scratched up in the ice this time. And then I have a mile and a quarter, maybe even a mile and a half up to the top of the ridge, where I'm gonna be breaking trail probably. Let's get to it. All right, I did it. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So now I've got my rain pants on here. Protect my legs from the snow a little more. Maybe it'll be a better trip up the hill. Let's give it a shot. Here's a new obstacle. I've got to jump across this ice bridge here. And that's where the trail's going. I'm kind of seeing snowshoe tracks here. So somebody's been here before me. Hopefully they packed the trail down enough for me to walk on top. That is a wonderful sight. I see the top of the hill. And it's downhill on a south slope for, I think, 2 miles after this. Whew! I'm gonna go take a break on top of the hill. All right, folks, I made it to the top of the hill, and I'm pretty happy about that. Had a snack, got some water, doffed my rain pants, and I'm ready to hit the sunny side of the mountain now, so let's go. Okay, this is where I left off last time. And this is looking down the closed portion of trail. Or it's not closed, it's just listed as impassable due to fallen logs. I also know there's a lot of really dense aspen regrowth mixed with down logs and snow. Nah, I'm not going that way. But that's the actual Borrego Trail. We're going to be following the Rio Capulan Trail down this way, right along the Rio Capulan, and head down to the Rio Nambe. This is the way I just came. There is a crossing right down there, but anyway, I'm gonna keep heading down this way towards the Rio Nambe. Okay, I just wanted to give everybody a reminder that this area is called Rancho Viejo. It is private land. We are now outside the wilderness, so it doesn't last very long. I think it's like 40 or 80 acres, something like that. So please just be respectful. Don't camp down here, that sort of thing. Don't collect firewood. It doesn't belong to you. I hope you can hear me with this wind, but the trail kind of fades away for a little bit through this opening, and then if you just go straight, you'll see the trail again at the end of the opening. Rio Nambe is a really pretty area. There's ponderosa pine in the overstory, Gamble's oak and cottonwoods. There's even some aspen down here. Nice mix of trees. Okay, I just came from that direction, right past that aspen there, and another fork of the Borrego Trail goes up this little canyon here. But what we want to do right now is continue straight, and you'll see a rock cairn. I can't see it from right here, but there is a rock cairn through there, and this will continue to take you down to the Rio Nambe. Kind of a pretty view from this opening just past that trail junction. Okay, the trail started getting more and more debris over it and beat up, and then right here it just kind of seems to end. And be careful, there's some barbed wire right there. So I think, from what I remember, the trail does a pretty good job of following the creek. I'm just going to drop down toward the creek, and I actually think I see something, a cow trail or something down there. Let's go check it out. Okay, this is definitely the trail. I was just up the hill a little ways, but let me pan around. We're going downstream this way. So eventually through that big meadow, the trail drops down towards the creek. After that big meadow, the trail goes through this little oaky area. Now I'm in this nice open pine stand, and I don't see any more stumps from thinning, so we might be off that private property now, but I haven't seen a sign, so don't take my word for it yet. Alright, here's a slightly washed out stream crossing of the Rio Capulan, but I can look across there, across those couple down logs, and I can see the trail on the other side, right between the forks of this little tree. Okay, the trail just follows the stream down this canyon through this burnt out old area of ponderosa pines. If I remember right, it looks like we're approaching the intersection with the Rio Nambe Trail down in that little opening. I wonder what kind of vehicle this was off of. It's gotta be old. Here is the confluence of the Rio Capulan right off to my left here, and the Rio Nambe. And over in there, looks like the En Medio fire underburned the opposite bank here. There used to be a trail sign here, but it looks like it's long gone, but that's the post it was on. And the crossing of the Rio Capulan is right there, and that's the Rio Nambe Trail that kind of goes up that way. Alright, so I decided to make camp here by the old car, or whatever that is. It got really windy this afternoon. I haven't done much filming, but I did explore up and down the Rio Nambe Trail a little bit. And downstream, the Rio Nambe is blocked by the En Medio fire. Upstream, it looked like there's not much snow. I'm kind of glad. I might have a quick start tomorrow, and I may even get farther than I thought. I might get even up to the Aspen, Aspen Ranch trailhead. So let's see how things go. I had to make a little rock ring around the stove in order to keep it boiling because the wind's so hard. It already blew it out once. This is the best darn dinner of the trip so far. It's just garlic and herb mashed potatoes with tuna with sun-dried tomatoes and basil. Oh, man. I was just kind of throwing stuff together, but oh, it's good. Alright folks, it's about time for bed. I will see you in the morning. Good night. On day 3, I started from Camp 2 and hiked down to the Rio Frijoles crossing. From there, I hiked up to the top of the ridge through snowfields, and then I hiked down all the way to Rancho Viejo and trail number 158, the Capulan Trail. From there, I followed the Capulan Trail down to the Rio Nambe Trail number 160 and made Camp 3. Alright folks, it is 7:25 and the camp is packed up, ready to go. I'm gonna hit the trail, and I'm kind of thankful for the deep freeze this morning because the trail's gonna be much harder packed, so that should make my going a little easier. Maybe with luck I can even make it out today. That's not my goal, but if it happens, that would be okay with me. So let's hit the trail. Okay, here's my first obstacle today. One of several river crossings. This is the Rio Capulan, but there's a nice log bridge to cross on. You can probably see the icicles down below too. That's kind of cool. But anyway, here I go. The remnants of an old cabin. This looks like another one. This one looks like it may have even had a fireplace on the far side there, where that pile of rocks is. And here is number 3. This must have been some kind of old homestead or something. The first part of this trail from the junction down there follows the Rio Nambe through all this kind of flash flood disaster zone here. This is horrible. Alright, here is my next stream crossing. And it looks awesome. There's not even any snow here. The stream even looks low and there's a bridge across it. So, no problems. This is incredibly easy after what I've been through the last few days. The old trail followed the north side of the stream, but as you can see, it's getting washed out and there's quite a dangerous drop off there, so they moved it to the south side in 2016, I believe. In fact, I'm the one that pulled up the stakes after the construction when I was volunteering. But yeah, the trail goes this way. Okay, we have arrived at the next stream crossing. The trail bordered the En Medio fire right here. So we're heading up the hill that way. Okay, it appears we have arrived at another stream crossing here. Let's see how tough this one will be. Looks like we have a log to cross if we need to. I see a rock pile there on the other side. And I can't see where the trail goes from there. I'll go show you when I get to the other side. Okay, the rock piles were a little confusing at first. The first one you see is that one, but it takes you through there to the next rock pile, to the bridge, and then that rock pile that I saw on the other side isn't really necessary because the trail turns left up this way. And that's where I'm going now. Alright folks, look where we are. We're at another trail junction and we're officially back on the Borrego Trail. So I came from that direction and we'll be heading up that way where that cut log is. But let me talk about what's north of me here. Let me pan around. Okay, the trail crosses the river right there. There's some good campsites across the river in those pine trees. And the trail heads right upstream for a little ways until it hits another junction with the actual Borrego Trail. It's still kind of a combination of the Rio Nambe and the Borrego Trail right here. The Rio Nambe Trail keeps heading east upstream, and the Borrego Trail heads up to a pass to the north and then down towards Rancho Viejo. That is the part that is impassable right now, and like I mentioned before, there's lots of down logs, thick aspen regrowth, and down towards the bottom, towards Rancho Viejo, there's been some flash flooding and the trail's washed out. I remember this from back in 2016 when I hiked it last. So that's about as good a description as I can give it right now. But that's what you'll find if you head up that way. And if you head east up the Rio Nambe Trail, it's good for a while. There's probably some down logs and stuff now. But you'll hit another place where there's thick aspen regrowth, where they haven't rebuilt the trail. And there's probably down logs everywhere. It's probably a mess, and they've closed that section of trail too. I think they've literally closed it. They haven't just said it's impassable. They've literally closed that trail and said it's dangerous to go into. So that's what's going on here. I'm gonna head up the hill and continue my route up to Aspen Ranch trailhead. And I went ahead and propped up the sign that had fallen over too. Okay, so now the Borrego Trail is heading gradually to moderately steep up this little side canyon here. There's some pretty good sized logs across the trail here. This closer one was kind of a bear to get over. I ended up climbing right over here, but when I got to the top, it was too far down to jump with a pack on. I was afraid I was going to hurt my knees. So I took the pack off, laid it on top, and then jumped down and grabbed my pack and kept going. Because I'm old and I have bad knees. I've really been amazed at how little snow there has been on this trail. It was kind of mostly an open, old burn area. And I think because it was more open, it just melted faster. It looks like I'm getting up into more timber. We'll see what it looks like up there, but so far it's been great. I've made at least 3 miles this morning already, and it's still early. Okay, you may not be able to tell, but the trail's becoming pretty steep through here. And I think we're coming to the end of this little side canyon. It ends up on a road at the top. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to give you some perspective on how steep this is. I have still not encountered very much snow. And the snow that I have encountered is easy to walk over. So the morning's going extremely well. I'm very happy. That looks interesting. I hope it's not too icy. It's rather deceiving, but I think we're getting close to the top, within a half mile anyway. And there's a little aspen stand here. I just wanted to show you. I must be getting close to the top now. Of course, I keep saying that. But I just came up right through there. Hit that little switchback. And now point it in the direction I'm going in. And I'm going that way. And I think it's going to switch back again just before I get to the top here. Alright, we're kind of in another old burn area. And here's a switchback, and it heads up that way. Okay, I've made it to the road at the top of the hill. And it also looks like the boundary of the Rio Medio fire there. So let's go down the road and find the trail again. And just so you know, the trail goes downhill along the road here. I don't know exactly how far it is. I think it's about a half mile. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is it, but I think this is where you turn off the road. You can see it winds around there. This looks very familiar, but there's no sign. And it looks like the trail borders the fire again. So it could possibly just be a fire line, but let's go check it out and see if it's the trail. Okay, that was definitely the trail. It kind of winds around from the fire line and heads down the hill. It's actually heading back towards the road a little bit here, but I think it switchbacks a couple times down towards the Rio Medio. Or the Rio en Medio, sorry. Okay, I'm going to switch back here, but it's close to the road. And you can see that the road is gated. There's no public access to the Aspen Ranch. I believe it's owned by the Tusuke Pueblo. It looks like they've been doing a good job of managing it. You can see they've cleaned up the forest quite a bit here. Thinned it out a little. Piled the slash. But we are heading down this way. Let's go. Alright then. After climbing down several switchbacks, it wasn't that far down the hill, but they had enough switchbacks to get the job done. You arrive at the Rio en Medio Trail, which I believe is closed in both directions, because the fire to the west and private property to the east. From the sign here, you can see the stream crossing below. And I'm not liking what I see on the opposite hillside. And if I remember right, it's quite a steep climb up the hill. Now through the snow. Let the fun begin. Well, this is a pretty little partially frozen stream here. It's going to be quite fun to cross. Oh, look at even the waterfall's a little bit frozen. That's cool. I see human tracks. And somebody forgot their smart water bottle. I guess I'll pick up the water bottle. Don't want to leave trash out here. Okay, through the trees there you can see Aspen Peak. And off to the right, where the white snow is, that's the ski basin. The parking lot of that is my final destination. And the trail's going this way. The snow hasn't been that bad. There were footprints to follow. It was hard packed, frozen, and there's a couple switchbacks up to here, but now I'm just kind of side hilling it until I get to the trailhead. Okay, this right here is something that really needs to be shown. There's a fork in the trail right here, and the left fork looks like the better used route, but the Borrego Trail actually goes this way. So go through the little fir trees, little white fir trees. That's the way you want to go, right next to this little stand of pine. Burn this into your memory, because there is no sign here. The first time I took this trail, I went the wrong way and walked probably a mile out of the way, something like that. That junction is also the top of the hill, and I'm heading this way down the hill to the Aspen Ranch trailhead. Whoops, the trail was closed. And we're at the Aspen Ranch trailhead. And I didn't know it, but they had the trail closed. There was a sign there. There's a bunch of Forest Service fire vehicles here. They've got it taped off here. But I think it's open from here up to the ski basin. Anyway, we are here. And we're going up to here. Okay, I came from that direction post-holing. I don't know if you can see my tracks or not. But I'm back to the Rio en Medio Trail that's closed from here through the Aspen Ranch. And if we take a right from the direction I was coming in and head up the hill following the creek, that's the way to the ski basin. And I just want to clarify, the reason I'm not stopping at the Aspen Ranch trailhead, because normally I'd leave a car there, but that road is technically not open until May 15th. So I had to hike extra couple miles to the ski basin in order to finish this trip. So far this isn't too bad. There's a snowshoer that came through here that's packed the trail down just a little bit, just enough to keep me afloat in most places. And this is one of the prettiest places I've hiked in yet this trip. Just look at the creek here. It's really beautiful. I think I'm gonna put on my micro spikes now. I'm not really slipping that much, but you know, I packed them 30 miles just for this section because I knew it would be like this. So I might as well use them. And I just want to let you know, I've already had a video on this section of trail, I think I called it the Upper Rio en Medio Trail. I'll try to leave a link for it down below. Whew. This is hard work going up this hill, but what a way to finish a long trip. This is beautiful. I guess that would be a half-frozen waterfall. Okay, there's another old cabin site in the back there. It's so old that that big old aspen has grown up right in the middle of it. Amazing. And I'm at an opening. I think I'm getting close to the end. I'd say maybe a half mile. Whew. Awesome. Okay, I've made it to the Windsor Trail. And I'm a quarter mile from the ski basin. The Windsor Trail, heads down that way towards the cross-country ski area and then down towards Hyde Park. And the true Borrego Trail actually follows that Aspen Ranch Road for a while and then hits the Windsor Trail and then heads up to just before Hyde Park. Alright folks, I've made it back to the Santa Fe ski basin. This is where my journey ends. I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one. The next morning from Camp 3, I crossed the Rio Capulan and followed the Rio Nambe east. Crossed it a few times until I hit the Borrego Trail. I took a right and followed it up the hill. It climbed up a steep canyon until it hit a short road walk at the top of the hill. And then I crossed the Rio Medio, climbed to the top of another little hill, and then got to the Aspen Ranch trailhead. From there, I followed the Rio Medio east, crossed it one more time, followed the steep canyon up the hill all the way to the Santa Fe ski basin or Aspen Basin trailhead. Trip information. The distance is 21.9 miles normal distance, 23.4 miles with the Rio Nambe reroute, 2 additional miles to the ski basin. The difficulty is moderate to hard, time required 2 to 3 days, features river, wildlife, fishing, flora. The season is May through October, usage light. Please contact the Espanola Ranger District of the Santa Fe National Forest for information on fire restrictions and trail conditions. This trail is currently closed at Aspen Ranch Trailhead due to the Medio fire.